Hello, everybody, and welcome to the weekly Oracle Wisdom. My name is Natalie Sadie. Um, I am on my own tonight, so this is streaming live on YouTube and it will be posted to High Vibe straight after I'm done. I hope that everybody had a wonderful long weekend celebrating President's Day. Time just got completely away from me and Anne was off with family. So we decided to just leave it for the day and I would do a shorter reading today for the rest of the week ahead, and then we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming next week. So anyone that's joining me here on YouTube, welcome. I'm thrilled to have you guys here with me live. Okay, so we're just going to get into it. I'm starting with the Ascending Life Oracle, the Maruk deck, which I often start with. It is a favorite of mine. And we're just going to get into it as we start stepping into this wild astrological moment in history. It's crazy what we have coming up. So the first card out is Angel, divinely guided. Ask for help from your angels. You are protected. Pay attention to signs and dreams. I always say divinely guided, divinely protected, and I think it's so incredibly important to have trust in the universe and know that the universe always has your back and will guide you and support you no matter what choices you make and where you end up. There are moments in time where we feel completely alone, and this is why it's so important to ask for help when we need it. And I know that's not the easiest thing. I am someone who is hyper independent and I will be there for anyone that asks me for help. But if I can avoid asking somebody else, that's what I would rather do. So the final thing, pay attention to signs and dreams. The universe is always giving us information. It's always giving us signs that we aren't alone. It's always giving us signs that they're listening and they're with us. And you have to pay attention to that. I know that when I was younger, I used to be quite dismissive. I would ask the universe questions and then I would see coins on the ground and I would sit there and think, there's money, and I would never pick it up because I never wanted to be seen to be picking money up off the ground. And then I read a book one day where they said that's the universe giving you answers and telling you that they're there for you and supporting you. And you have to pick up the coins and acknowledge that you got the message. And so ever since then, whenever I find coins, I pick them up, I thank the universe, and I have a special bowl which is now overflowing, and I call it my angel money. And I sort of figured there would be a point where I have to either change it for notes or put it in a different jar or something like that. The reason I tell this story is this was something I didn't pay attention to. And we live in a time where exceedingly more and more people are using cards as opposed to cash. People don't carry coins and things the way they used to. Yet I can ask the universe a question. And if I'm out for a walk, I will often find a trail of coins sort of that lay ahead of me. And that's the universe saying, hey, we heard you, we got you, we're answering your question, and going from there. So just keep that in mind when you are asking questions. Feathers are another huge sign. Dreams. I get visits from family members that have passed. It's happened since I was a kid, and I never understood it when I was younger. One of my uncles passed, and I had a visit that night. And this uncle and I weren't particularly close. It was my dad's brother, and I I will never forget this dream. I was standing on a cliff and the earth was red and the water was just this gorgeous, stunning blue, crystal clear blue sky. And he was so brown. He was so tanned and so healthy looking. He'd been battling colon cancer for a long time. And he just looked well. And we were talking, but we were talking telepathically because distance wise, there was so much distance between us. There was no way to actually verbally communicate. And he was fishing, and I said to him, "How are you doing?" And he said, "I'm great. I've never been better. I'm so happy. Look at where I am." And that was the extent of the visit. And I got up in the morning and I said to my mum, did he fish? And mum said, I don't know why. And I told her about the dream and she went, I don't know. That day we went round to see his family. They were making funeral arrangements. And so we went into another room just to wait, to let them do whatever they needed to, but so that we would still be there when that conversation was done. I'm sitting there with my mum. We're not speaking because we don't want to be disruptive to what's going on in the other room. And right at that moment, I look across and there is a photo of him wearing exactly what he wore in the visit in a very similar location to what he was in the visit. And I said to my mum, have a look at this. And she looked and I said, this was exactly what I pictured. So you have to pay attention to these things. I will say that visits and dreams do feel different. And I could give you 100 other examples of visits that I've had, but I tell you this so that you pay attention to the signs that appear in your own life. When people pass, if there's someone close to you, sometimes it's a song, sometimes it's an animal. There are different things. So pay attention to that and ask questions. My mum's song is Don't Worry, Be Happy. I will be having a conversation with the universe and I'll say, is this going to be okay? Because I feel like it's not. And I mean, I could give you 300 examples of Don't Worry, Be Happy playing in the most random of circumstances. But the main one that I always tell people is it was Christmas time. I was in a supermarket in Australia and I was having a very deep conversation. It was actually about moving over to the US. I didn't know if I was doing the right thing because we question, because we get fearful. And there was a Christmas carol playing because that's what they play during Christmas. And all of a sudden, the Christmas carol stops. They play the chorus of Don't Worry, Be Happy. And I stopped and I'm looking at the ceiling of this building thinking, you've got to be freaking kidding me. And then after the chorus of Don't Worry, Be Happy was playing, it went back to the original Christmas carol. I cannot make this stuff up. So just know that if you ask the questions, the universe will give you proof that it's listening, your angels, your loved ones, your guides, all of that. So please pay attention to that. I have clearly gone off on a tangent with these stories, but I feel like it's important information that people need, especially as we're gearing up astrologically for so much to be taking place. You're obviously going to need the support. And so this information, these stories, I hope stick in your mind and remind you to ask the questions and pay attention to the things that you need to. The next card is online, being active on social media, strong social media presence, influencer emails, online dating, online business. So clearly there's going to be a lot going on in terms with things we're doing online. If you're thinking about sending an email to somebody, reach out. There was somebody I was chasing for an interview, or I'd been thinking about it, and I reached out to a mutual acquaintance, and in talking, they said, yeah, we can get that person. I've interviewed them before. And then he mentioned somebody else who is sort of on my dream list. And I said, I'd really like to speak to this person. And they said, yep, no problem. And so the communication has started. So take this moment to start moving forward with whatever it is that you need to push forward with, whether it be business, a personal email that you need to send. If you're thinking about starting something online in terms of social media, maybe now's the time to sort of put that together and get it going. I feel like whatever seeds are planted right now are going to come to fruition, and just don't get frustrated if things don't happen immediately, but just know that sometimes it's about planting the seed and just getting things going. I don't have the interview locked in yet, but the conversations are happening. These people are aware of me and we're talking about dates and deadlines. So anything is possible. The next card is renewal. Powerful internal transformation, leave old flames, embrace the new, release of energy and emotions, playing with fire. So I always love this card because I'm an Aries, element of fire, war, all of this. I've talked about my love of fire in the past. And I always say that fire brings around transformation, in that when something burns to the ground, as horrible and as traumatic as it can be, what sprouts from that is new growth, a new way forward. So when a forest burns down, what that fire will do is release a whole lot of seeds that under normal circumstances would never have been released. And when the first rains come, those seeds start to sprout and a new forest will form. There is a beauty and an elegance to what happens in nature and that process of renewal. So if something is ending and it feels like everything's burning around you, know that it means something better is coming. There is something that is being released, that it can step into this new space for you. If that's happening, don't be afraid. I know it can be hard to let go of things, but it doesn't always mean that it's a bad thing. The other thing is fire, the release of energy and emotions. We are coming up to, we are not there yet, but we're getting much closer to Venus going retrograde. That can obviously have a lot to do with relationships and with that emotions. So just when I was younger, I used to fear retrogrades because I was like, oh, I don't want to go back and I don't want this. But I actually think of it now as a wonderful time to revisit and tie up old ends. Sometimes when I hear from people from my past, I feel like it's a really good thing. It's nice sometimes to get closure that maybe we wouldn't have had any other time, to say the things that we need to say, to hear the things we needed to hear, or sometimes just to realize we're not in that place anymore. We've been pining for something that doesn't work for us and something that we don't want. The final card, playing with fire. Now listen, if you're being reckless and you're taking some risks, it's not always a bad thing. High risk, high reward. But if you're in that space, make sure you're asking the other side for guidance. So I go back to the first card that we pulled, the angel card, and asking for support. Sometimes playing with fire is fun. I'm not going to lie. Oh, I'm always doing something weird and wonderful. And you know what? Sometimes it doesn't work, but sometimes it works really well. So just be mindful, think about what you're doing before you do it, set yourself up so that you have the best possible support that you can have. Okay, so next card out is surviving, barely hanging on, living paycheck to paycheck. Burnout is knocking on your door, no savings, limited resources. And I'm sure plenty of people are feeling this way. I mean, I had to fill up my gas tank earlier today and it was so freaking expensive. If this is how you're feeling, I feel like this goes back to the online thing. I feel like it's time to take action and move things forward. Sometimes we have to shift things. And again, with the renewal, without things changing in their current form, you don't get to the new place. So if you're feeling like you're barely surviving, it's, burning of the current state is not such a bad thing. And if you are feeling burnt out and you're feeling exhausted, I'm a big proponent for self-care. And I'm not saying that you let everything fall away around you, because that's just irresponsible and silly. But stop and take time for yourself. It's okay to say to your friends, I can't do this because I need to do this for me. It's okay to say to your husband, your wife, your partner, whoever it is, could you take the kids for a minute? I need to do this. I'm at my wit's end. And again, this goes back to asking for help and support. It doesn't just need to be from the other side. And I say this as someone who struggles with doing that, but sometimes you just need to. And it's okay to lean on the people around you. They want to help and support you. Next card is good health, changing nutrition habits, setting up a workout program, work-life balance, routine checkups at the doctor. So the fact that this has come out right next to burnout, I feel like is an indication that you need to take care of your health. So if that is working out, if it's looking at how you've been eating, because comfort eating is a thing that many, many, many people do, myself included. Salt and vinegar chips for me. But it's fine to do it once in a while. But if you find you've fallen into a trap of you're eating takeout most nights or every day, and you're eating the snacks that bring you bring your taste buds joy, but maybe not your body, you have to relook at that. I'm not saying you have to be a purist and you have to go without the things that you enjoy, but you have to look at the lifestyle that you're leading. Look at your sleeping habits. I mean, I'm very much a night owl. Plenty of people will tell you that that's a terrible thing. It works for me, but it works for me because I have a lifestyle where I am able to sleep a little bit later in the day. I don't have to be up at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. to do the 9 to 5 thing. I have flexibility in my schedule. So just make sure that you're finding that balance and taking care of yourself. And like I said, if that is as simple as going to someone and saying, hey, I need a break, can you please help me? That's what you need to do. All right, I think we'll just do one more card and then we will move on. Casglow is saying Ben and Jerry's is her weakness. I understand. Mine is McConnell's ice cream. I don't eat it very often, but oh my gosh, that ice cream. Oh, so good. Okay, and the final card from the Ascending Life Oracle is leadership, high influence in business, stepping into a leadership role. You know your value and self-worth, using logic over emotions. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. So if you haven't already, it's time to recognize your worth and let the people around you know what it is that you are worth. This whole online thing, this card that came up, again, I feel like it goes with this as well as a renewal and surviving. I feel like whatever it is you're thinking about doing, it's about moving forward and changing the current state of things for yourself to make it better. And maybe that's just putting your hand up if there's a promotion that you think you'd be really good at. Maybe it's putting your hand up for that. And this is where I always say to people, you have to separate emotion from business. You know, I've spoken to plenty of people that talk to me about work and say, well, I feel this and I feel that and I feel that. I understand if you are being bullied at work, if you are being genuinely harassed, that has to be dealt with. That is a problem. But somebody critiquing you for something that you've done and it hasn't been done right, or it could have been done better or executed in a slightly different way, and they're giving you feedback so that moving forward you can do better. That's not being bullied. That's not being harassed. And this is where I feel like society has drifted too much in one direction, where it's all about how everybody feels right now. And I think it's really important in business that we focus on the business side of it and what we need to do moving forward. And it's not to say you can't be respectful of people's feelings in doing that. You absolutely should be, can be. There's no excuse not to. However, business is business. We're there to do a job. Our personal shit needs to be left at home unless it's something, like I said, that is intrinsically important to what's going on in front of us. So if you approach things that way, I feel like that will help bring more success to you, because you're not caught in the me, and, oh, I'm struggling with everything and everybody's so mean and people looked at me the wrong way and I feel that that's a microaggression. Bullshit. Let's focus on getting work done, and then when you're done with that, then you call your girlfriends or your mum or whoever it is and you vent and move forward. And not only that, if people aren't able to give you feedback, how do you ever expect to grow and get better at what you do? That's why I actually think with kids, they need to learn how to win and lose athletic races. It's, in sports, the participation trophies for everybody, I think, is the worst thing ever. You need to learn how to win graciously, lose graciously, and understand that we're great at some things, terrible at others, and we find our little niche in the world. Anyway, rant over. So a couple of cards jumped out while I was shuffling. Attachment is the first card, longing and desperation. So you can see in this, she's stuck in a spider's web, and anyone that's had a spider web on them, ugh, hate spiders. Um, you know how sticky it is. That's how all the bugs get stuck in there for the spiders to be able to eat. So when you're stuck in this mental sort of space of longing for something that you don't have or that you've lost, or desperation for something, that's a worst way to manifest anything. In order to manifest, first of all, you have to be very careful about the language that you use, not only when you're talking about what it is you want to manifest, but the language that you're using in your day to day life as you're speaking to people. You need to make sure that you're using positive language, not negative, all of that sort of stuff. But even more importantly than that is the self talk that goes on in here, because you can talk about and follow all the books that tell you about how to manifest something. But if you in your brain is saying, but I don't deserve that, there is no way on this earth that you are going to manifest those things. If you go into something and there's a detachment to it and you're able to let it go, and you also understand your worth and you're using language day to day, second to second, that is reflective of all of that, that is when you create things. So if this is the space that you are sitting in, this is where you need to look at the part that you're playing. You need to look at what it is you need to shift in order to move forward and release whatever it is that you're stuck on. And I get sometimes if it's a relationship, if it's a job, if it's a particular situation, it can be really difficult, but it's the only way you're going to move forward. So the next card is soulful appreciation, heartfelt gratitude. I feel like this is what we need to step into, because when we're sitting in a place of appreciation, when we're sitting in a place of gratitude, it's when the universe rewards us. I have told this story before, but there was a moment in time I was still living in Australia, and anyone that's seen Australian money knows it looks like Monopoly money. Every denomination is a different color, and so the hundreds are green. And I remember I was really busy with work, because when you work in entertainment, you don't have a 9 to 5. You don't have that guaranteed money every week unless you have clients every week. And I was always very lucky. I always had my regulars that paid my bills and what have you. But I always loved when I could look at my diary and see that I was booked solid for the entire week, because it meant not only was I going to be able to pay my bills, but I was going to be able to get in front or pay for whatever thing I had coming up. And I was talking to somebody on the phone as I was pulling into where I would park my car. And I said, I am so grateful for how busy I am over the next couple of weeks. It's not just this week, it's the next couple of weeks of booked solid. And that just brings me so much peace. And as I said it, I saw something green on the ground, and I said, I think there's $100 in front of my car. And they said, no, there's not. I then sent them a photo of the $100 that literally was in front of my car. So when you exist in this space, the universe just keeps handing you things. So this is where two poles, one on one side, one on the other. And so it's time to decide which side of this equation you want to be on. I'll pull one more before we move to the final. So the final one is past life guides, karmic lessons, present assistance. So you have your ancestors, you've got your guides, you've got the archangels, everybody on the other side who is guiding you. And remember, the very first card from this reading was angel, and talking about paying attention to the signs, knowing that you're divinely guided. So this to me is confirmation, as we're getting close to the end of this reading, that you have these people that are guiding you, that are helping you learn your karmic lessons, that are, present and assisting you right now. So you can create everything that you want to create very easily in this life. I think I think there's a few challenges this week, but I don't think there are anything that are insurmountable. It's not, and I think a lot of this comes down to choice. Do you choose to stay stuck where you are? Do you choose to fixate on the things that are holding you back? Or are you choosing to move forward? Are you choosing to ask for help and accept help and guidance and step into this new way and find a new way forward? And you're the only one that can decide that. So I've got the Magic of the Unicorns. If you saw the thumbnail, you know. So the card that came out is your personal unicorn. Bathe in pure love, stay open to unicorn magic. I thought about pulling one more, but I actually think this is perfect because, again, it's confirmation of what I just said. Stay open to the unicorn magic. Stay open to everything that the universe is offering you. It's offering you every bit of support that is possible. And if you look at the colors of this card and the artwork of this card, everything is light and love and just joy. Whenever I talk about meditating, I always finish with surrounding myself in gold light because it's protection. You are protected. And again, the very first card talks about being protected. The third line there, you are protected. So know that you're protected. Know that the universe has your back. Know that your guides and your ancestors and everyone that has already passed, even if they're fur children, human, whoever it may be, they are helping you and supporting you and cheering you on through this journey. So make the choices that are going to empower you and help you move forward. And I think it'll be a really good week. And it's always so exciting when you're able to get past the fear or move past sort of getting stuck in the spot that you're in, and these new possibilities open up. It's so exciting and it's so inspiring, but you have to take that first step, that first leap, send that first email, start the account on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram, whatever your chosen platform is. Maybe it's all of them, but it's time to start. And you know what? If things don't work out, you're not left with any questions. But if you choose to stay in this space, you'll always have questions about what you could have done, created, made, or where you could have gone, who you could have met. So remember that. I know that you're all strong enough to do it because if I can do it, anyone can, I promise you. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Thank you for everyone that joined me live in the chat. I so appreciate each and every one of you. And have a great week. I will see you all next Monday.